Yu-Gi-Oh! Legendary Decks Volume 2! Let's open it. Alright, so let's see here. So you get 3 decks, just like the first volume of the Yugi Legendary Decks. You get Yugi's Exodia deck, Kaya's Blue Eyes deck, and Joey's Red Eyes deck. And you also get 3 Egyptian God cards. I've never opened the style of Egyptian God card where it has the full effect written out. I've always opened the blue, red, and yellow ones that look more like the traditional version of the cards from the TV show. These ones are actually, I guess, considered the playable versions of them, as the full abilities of the monsters written on the card, so I'm interested to see that. You also get 3 new variant cards here. So yeah, we're just gonna pop this open. If you're new to the channel, and you've never watched any of our Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, or any of my Yu-Gi-Oh stuff, I'm more of a nostalgic Yu-Gi-Oh player. I do have somewhat of a modern Buster Blader deck, but I say modern, but it's outdated by like 10 years. So I'm not really like up to snuff on the current version of Yu-Gi-Oh as it stands in the modern day. When I open products like this on the channel, it's just for nostalgia purposes, because I like to collect the old stuff and just kind of go back and relive what I had so much fun doing as a child. And these legendary deck sets capture that wonderfully. Obviously, it's based on the most main of main characters you can get in the show, with all their main monsters and so forth. So it's right up my alley. Bit more casual, much more nostalgic. I did get the original legendary decks when it first came out. This obviously is not a new product, it's much older. I'm gonna imagine it's close to 10 years old. Something along those lines. I know the original came out at least 10 to 12 years ago, because I bought it when it came out, and I never bought the second version. This I bought at Target within the last year, and it's been sitting in my closet ever since I bought it. So today's the day I'm gonna open it. Enjoy the Yu-Gi-Oh! Nostalgia is what I'm gonna do. Ooh! There we are. It's a bit more of a laid-back video, so if some things are off, sorry about that. But again, we're just enjoying ourselves, having a good time today, not being too serious. Not that any of my videos are ever serious, but you know what I'm saying. You get a few variant cards like they mentioned there. Let's bust out these 3 decks. So this looks like it's going to be the Red Eyes deck. This one I'm going to imagine is Yugi's deck. And this one is Kaiba's, obviously, Maiden of the Eyes of Blue. We'll move the box here out of the way. It's nice to have another box. Me and my boxes. I'm always talking about boxes when I'm recording these videos. But it's nice to have more room to store cards, because I'm running out of space with the amount of stuff that I buy that I don't need. So they have Slifer in Yugi's deck here. I'm curious to know if Obelisk is going to be in Kaiba's deck, and are they going to put Ra in Joey's deck, or Obelisk and Ra going to be in these variant cards? So let's figure it out. Let's start with the variants here. Dark Burning Attack. What's this do? If you control a Dark Magician monster, destroy all face-up monsters on your opponent controls. That's like crazy. That's like Harpy's Feather Duster, but for monsters and for magicians. Dark Burning Magic. If you control monsters whose original names are Dark Magician and Dark Magician Girl, destroy all cards. Wow, these are pretty powerful cards. And then you got Eternal Soul, which I don't remember the specifics, but I don't feel like reading it. I'm not going to read the whole effect right here on camera, but I definitely have already had that card in the past, because I did play a Dark Magician deck once upon a time. Throw these in some sleeves before we go in depth on these other decks here. Alright, so I am going to do Kaiba's last, because he has a Blue Eyes Ultimate in his deck. I saw that on the box there, and fun fact, if you watched any of my retro box openings, I've been trying to get a Blue Eyes Ultimate out of that box, because I've never actually had a Blue Eyes Ultimate ever in my life. Not that I play, you know, a Blue Eyes deck or anything like that. Not that I'm even dueling regularly like that. But I've just never ever in my life had a physical Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon. And this is going to be the first one that I've ever had. I know nowadays that's nothing special. You could just go online and buy one, and I could do that too, but the fun is in actually getting one. So I'm still going to try and pull one from those retro boxes as I continue to do those videos sporadically. But it's cool to finally be able to physically hold a Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon, so I'm going to get to do that with this in a minute here. So should I do Yugi or Joey? Well, I actually like Joey. He's my favorite character, so I'm gonna do his second, and I'll start with Yugi. Let's bust this open. So there, as I was saying, you get the playable version almost of the Egyptian god cards with the effect. It looks, the artwork of the border of the card looks more like a standard Yu-Gi-Oh card rather than Slifer's is normally fully red. Obviously, Obelisk is blue and Ra's is yellow. If you watch Yu-Gi-Oh or you know anything about Yu-Gi-Oh, you know that I'm wasting your time saying that. But you get what I'm saying. This is the first time I've ever seen that. So let me take a quick look there. Very cool. Very cool to see it like that. So we have Slifer. Okay, so you, I guess, you know, all right. I was like, are they going to put Obelisk in Kaiba's deck and Ra and Joey's deck? Me being stupid, not even considering the fact that at the end of Battle City, Yugi had all three monsters. So of course he's going to have all three of them. I'm just stupid. That Obelisk looks awesome, though. Obelisk is my favorite of the three god cards. And Ra. Ooh, very nice. So this is Yugi's Exodia deck, according to the box. So we're gonna get some Exodia cards in here. The legendary Exodia Incarnate. Ties of the Brethren. Obliterate! And here we are. So then we have Exodia. And then we're gonna get all 5 pieces here. Right leg and left leg. So there we are. Exodia Necros. This is actually the first time I've ever had Exodia Necros as well, but it's a common, but it's still cool just for me to hold. There's a lot of cards like this growing up that I never actually physically had. So even if it's not impressive nowadays, again, it's still fun for me to just open the card and physically hold it. And Exodia Necros would fall into that category. Oop. And we have Dark Magician with the classic artwork, my favorite artwork, and Dark Magician Girl. Buster Blader. Can add that to my actual real life deck that I never use anymore. Silent Magician. You get all the Silent Magicians I'm imagining. The Tricky, Big Shield Garna, Magician's Valkyria, Blast Magician, Blockman, Marshmallow, Bolt Sarcophagus. If you watch any of the retro unboxings. Swords of the Revealing Light. Of the Revealing Light? Magical Dimension. Let's just kind of start barreling through these. Again, we're just admiring the cards and the decks, so we don't really have to go through each individual card. Contract with Exodia. Secret Village of the Spellcasters. I definitely had that in my Dark Magician deck back in the day. Mirror Force, Magical Hats, which doesn't work like it does in the TV show. Oh my god. Did I see a holo in the back there? Oh, you get a token. Oh, that's cool. You get Yugi with the Dark Magician. Awesome. Some really cool stuff there. Again, just to reiterate, these are the first times this is the first time that I've ever had the god cards like this, with the effects written on them. For any Yu-Gi-Oh lore merchants out there who know the history from the time in between when I stopped playing and then started kind of just collecting loosely whenever I felt like buying something, what do you know what the reasoning was for why they remade these cards with the effects written on them? Is there a reason for that? Is it just so they could be played and people could refer to the descriptions of the card when... God, I'm making a mess here. When being played in... What the hell am I saying, man? Is it just so people could just physically read them when they were dueling? That's what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to be fancy here. I'm just gonna make a straight pile, just like that. I know they also remade the... There's like different versions of the god cards that have different names, but they're obviously takes on Obelisk, Slifer, and Ra. And I don't know what those are either, so If anybody knows what I'm talking about, and I'm sure you do if you're into Yu-Gi-Oh whatsoever, explain to me what the deal is with that. They have different names, but it's very obviously Slifer Ra and Obelisk. So what's the deal with that? When I say that I'm casual, I'm a casual. Literally just collecting Yu-Gi-Oh cards to fulfill that nostalgia in my heart. Alright, we got Joey next. As I said, Joey's my favorite character in the show. I always thought Joey had, like, overall just had the coolest deck of any of the main characters, because his deck, like, he built it up from scratch. Especially in Battle City when he was, you know, taking on the duelists like Mako and I'm destroying the place. Duels like Mako and Weevil and Esperoba. He won their rarest card in each of those duels. And I just always thought Joey's deck was cool. I'm rambling here. I'm gonna stop rambling. Joey's awesome. Joey had a cool deck. Blackstone of Legend. Return of the Red Eyes. Red Eyes Flare Metal Dragon. This has got the alternate art Red Eyes. I prefer the regular, but still cool. Red Eyes Black Flare. Archfiend of Lightning Red Eyes. Red Eyes Retro. Black Metal. Axe Raider. Baby Dragon. Jinzo, strut your stuff.
Jinzo, strut your stuff.
Rocket Warrior. The Blue Flame Swordsman. Time Wizard. Inferno Fire Blast. Scapegoat. Foolish Burial. Spirit Kunai with Chain. So obviously, as I'm going through these cards and just looking at them and admiring them, I've decided I'm going to say everything in a poorly reenacted version of Joey's voice. And then you get the token with him and Red Eyes on it. So obviously the last one's gonna be him. It's gonna be Kaiba with blue eyes, right? Watch it be like Tristan. An XZ's monster there. I started to dabble in XZ's when I was playing my Buster Blader deck a good while ago. So I'm familiar with XZ's and Synchros. Pendulums is when I was like... Well, first of all, I jumped on XZ's and Synchros way after they had been introduced. Pendulums I just never got into. I'm not here to rag on people who play the current version of Yu-Gi-Oh! I just don't understand it and haven't tried to understand it, so. Alright, Kaiba deck. Let's do it. Let's do it. Why is his so much harder to open? There was like a clear... Never mind, I'm just stupid. Maiden with the Eyes of Blue, the Melody of Awakening Dragon, and let's go! Blue Eyes Ultimate Dragon for the first time in my life ever physically holding this card. Let me just take a look at it. Let's go! Very awesome. Alright, let's run through Kaiba's deck here. You got the regular artwork, Blue Eyes. I'm a stickler for the original artworks. I didn't like that the Red Eyes was the other one. But, Blue Eyes. Well, speaking of, I wonder if there's a version of each. Yep, so you get all three. And don't get me wrong, I think all three artworks are cool, but I like the original. The Kaiba Man. The Battle Ox. And Lajin, the Mystical Genie of the Lamb. Force Raider. I don't think I ever had Force Raider either. That falls in a category with the cards like Exodia Necros, Blue Eyes Ultimate that I've just like never ever had. So that's cool. This is a common, obviously, but I've never had Force Raider. Did I see the Swamp Man? What's his name? King of the Swamp? Yeah. Doesn't that do something with fusion monsters? I tried to use that unsuccessfully with a Jack's Queen and King's Knight deck. Enemy Controller. And then you get Kaiba's token. Nice. So yeah, that was it. Again, just opening up some classic Yu-Gi-Oh cards, enjoying the nostalgia. So thanks for watching me opening Yu-Gi-Oh cards. Hopefully you had a good time again. It was just kind of a chill day today. It wasn't a super serious video. Not that any of our videos are uber serious. Those are awesome Blue Eyes Ultimate. But I was just kind of taking it easy with this video. Just wanted to enjoy some Yu-Gi-Oh cards. If you like Yu-Gi-Oh content though, especially nostalgic content, go watch the other Yu-Gi-Oh videos on the channel. We got plenty. I've done openings for the anniversary boxes of Invasion of Chaos, Legend of Blue Eyes, Pharaoh's Servant. I've done plenty of retro box openings and anniversary pack openings. So you can go watch all of them. There's full length and shorts. Go check them all out. Go watch the toy hunts where I got this playmat. And if you're a fan of anything you can place under like a nerd type umbrella, be it Yu-Gi-Oh, Yu-Yu Hakusho, Dragon Ball, we do things like Star Wars, Power Rangers, we love wrestling. If you're into any of that stuff, we have all that stuff. We got it all. So go watch it all. But we want to thank you guys for watching this video, and we will see you on the next one. What the hell am I saying, man?